What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I wanted to just do a quick discussion on the Adventurers League, which sometimes people I think forget even exists. But there was an article released 2 weeks or so ago about the updates for the Adventurers League regarding the 2024 core rules, and I thought I would just cover it in case this impacts you, or maybe you don't even know what the Adventurers League is and you're curious. So let's go ahead and take a look. But hey, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So here it is. It says it's an exciting time to be involved in Adventures League with the 2024 core rule books releasing. Today we're going to talk about how these books will work with the Adventures League system. It has always been the Adventures League policy to use the most recent version of the rules when they've been updated. This applies to the 2024 rules in the following ways. When a new core rulebook is released worldwide, Adventurers League's game will be updated to the 2024 rules found within it. Until the 2024 core rulebook is released, continue to use the rules from the 2014 counterpart. If a rules option appears in a previously published sourcebook, such as Tasha's Cauldron of Everything or Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and was updated in the 2024 rules, use the updated rules, right? So if this is a subclass or a species or what have you. If a rule option appears in a previously published sourcebook and has not been updated in the 2024 rules, continue to use the most recently published version of that option. All right. Grace period for rules implementation. Players will have a grace period of 60 days from the worldwide release, which we'll see below, of each core rulebook to update their characters to the 2024 rules. Dungeon Masters should begin using the new rules once a book is available. Dungeon Masters without access to the 2024 core rulebooks can use the rules glossary in the D&D free rules, which does cover quite a bit of stuff. As the 2024 Dungeon Masters Guide and 2024 Monster Manual release, the free rules will be expanded to include all of that, which is what we expected. 2024 Player's Handbook. This book is available for use in Adventurers League games starting on September 17th, so again, when it first released. You can review our updates to the Player's Handbook article to get a picture of what's been updated. On or after the release of the 2024 Player's Handbook, you are welcome to rebuild your existing characters, swapping out any player options you'd like to use with the new rules. Just keep the grace period above in mind. If any player options have not been updated in the 2024 Player's Handbook, i.e. subclasses, species, etc., you should continue to use the most recently published version of that option, which is kind of what we expected, right? Or at least what I expected. It's basically how it's being handled from what I've seen in most games that are transitioning from 2014 to 2024. It's, if there's an updated version of your species or your class, you're switching to that. However, if it was a subclass from an older book, or even if your species wasn't updated, right? Like, let's say you're playing Tabaxi, right? That's not updated, but you're playing a rogue and you're going to be a thief rogue that's a Tabaxi. Okay, well, you update to the 2024 base rogue, the 2024 thief class, but you keep the 2014 version of the Tabaxi, or, if the subclass is different or so on. Exception. Treasure obtained from play cannot be, quote, rebuilt, but if you selected a magic item at level 5, you may change your selection to another item as referenced in the D&D Adventurers League Player's Guide. I'll be honest, I also haven't looked at Adventures League stuff in years, so apparently you get to choose a magic item at level 5. You used to have to gain them from adventures, and sometimes you could get wild legendary items really early on, but they retconned all of that as well. Either way. If you choose to use a background or species from an older book, please reference the sidebar backgrounds and species from older books in Chapter 2. I think we've done a video on that. If not, I'll make another video on it, which is basically how you're going to handle older backgrounds if you want to use a background that's not contained in this book. Like, you have to give it a feat, basically, and tie ability scores to it. Or if you're using a species from another book, there's some stuff about that as well. 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. This book is available for use in Adventures League starting on November 12th. That's its official launch date. And the Monster Manual is February 18th. It says, notable for players for the Dungeon Master's Guide, magic items will be updated in this release. For the Monster Manual, it says it will include updates to all creatures from the 2020 or 2014 version of that book, meaning the Monster Manual. So there will be additional monsters, but also an update to literally every monster contained within the 2014 book. Previously published adventures. All Adventurers League adventures and compatible products continue to remain as published, except for using updated rules as present in the 2024 core rulebooks. Adventures typically do not include creature statistics from the Monster Manual, since it's required as a core reference. Many creature statistics will be updated in the 2024 Monster Manual, but until such time, continue to use the 2014 Monster Manual versions. Exception, there are some creature statistics that are present in the 2024 Player's Handbook. Again, this is mostly like beasts and things for like druids to turn into or familiars or whatnot. Dungeon Masters do not have to use the updated versions of those creature statistics in adventures until the 2024 Monster Manual releases. Updating existing Adventure League adventures. The Dungeoncraft program allows for community-created Adventure League adventures. If you have published an adventure under this program, those adventures should not be updated until after the release of the updated 5th edition SRD document, SRD 5.2. This will be released after the 2024 Monster Manual in 2025. Yeah, so that's something to consider as well, right? Technically, you can't design things, at least the average person can't design things with the 2020 for purchase or for sale, because you're basically bound to use the SRD 5.1, which is the one that was updated and added into Creative Commons post the OGL. That is geared towards the 2014 set of rules. The 2024 set of rules won't be, while it is available for free for you to look at and utilize in your games, it is not available in the way for you to use it for selling products in the future until the SRD 5.2 is updated, which will include the overhaul to the 2024 rules. That is not set to make an update to Creative Commons until sometime after the Monster Manual has released in 2025. Designing new Adventure League adventures with the 2024 rules. Adventure designers publishing content through the Dungeoncraft program from now until the release of the 24 Monster Manual should reference the 2014 rules. Updates to the Dungeoncraft program will be made available after the SRD 5.2 releases, and updates to Adventure League documents. The D&D Adventures League resources and links thread will be updated with references to the 2024 rules as applicable. Those updates to the documents should go live over the next few weeks to months. Keep up with the latest on D&D Beyond or the Adventure League channel on the Discord, the D&D Discord. Onboarding new rules at the table. After the grace period is over, if a player unintentionally comes to the table with an outdated character, do not interrupt the adventure to have them update their character. Inform them of the updated character options and ask them to rebuild before the next session. That's a very smart way to handle that. During this time, many players and dungeon masters may still be learning the new rules or may not be aware as the updates as others. Please remember to be mindful of each person's experience and support others. Make sure the sessions keep moving and don't worry about adapting a new rule in the moment if it creates tension or disrupts enjoyment. Keep Adventures League sessions welcome and fun above all else. That's actually really good advice, right? You know, if you're trying to say, hey, we're specifically, again, as we know, Adventures League is supposed to use the newest set of rules. So that's just how that is. But even if you're doing this, I would say recommend using this if you're going to be running a game at your table and you're planning to use 2024 rules at your table, and maybe you have a new player joining and they show up with a 2014 character. Don't stop the game from happening and say, whoa, timeout. No, hang on, we got to update you. Do what they're saying here. Keep it rolling. Say, hey, listen, just play the game and say, listen, at the end of the session, hey, before we start next session, we're actually using the 2024 rules. Don't know if you're aware of those. They recently just came out. And then again, especially if you're the dungeon master, hey, I'm available. Let's take some time if you need assistance to make that transition from 2014 to 2024. There can be a little bit of wonky stuff going on. If you're having a hard time making that adjustment, or you're not really sure what goes where, or how to do different aspects depending on species and sub class and so on, I'll set aside some time and we can go through it. Or if you want to try to do it on your own and just send me your character sheet, I'll review it, make sure I don't have any questions, because I want to make sure you're being built at the same level as everybody else, as generally 2024 characters seem to be a little bit of a higher power level than 2014, so I don't want to make sure you're not missing anything. But that's really good advice. Don't break the session and like have it be a slog because, hang on guys, we can't play till new guys updates their character. No, just keep it rolling and make the adjustments after the session. And it's good to see that Adventure League's taking the time to make that the case. So anyway, just thought I would cover this. It sounds like there's been some pretty solid work. I'm actually not even really familiar with the Dungeoncraft program, so I might need to do a little diving into the Adventure League stuff because I haven't really paid much attention to it. I honestly, I was a little salty on my end because I had played through a bunch of Adventures League stuff. And I just also don't have the time to do that, but I used to play Adventures League pretty heavily at conventions, and I gathered a bunch of really good, like, legendary artifact items that were part of the campaigns that we were playing. And then at one point, they were just like, nobody can have those anymore, which is fine. I understand the reason why you're going to get rid of the dragon masks and Harzaron and Cerex staff and all that kind of stuff. I totally understand the reasoning behind removing those. Still a little a little butthurt about it myself because I had them on some characters, but either way. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, especially if you're an Adventure League player. I'm also very curious out there how many people don't even know what Adventures League is. Because, if you don't play at local game stores or conventions or things, you may not be aware of how Adventures League work. But probably one of the biggest things that's worth you looking into if you have any interest is just the adventures. Some of the adventures are absolutely phenomenal. The entire Curse of Strahd, Empty Hearts, or whatever it was called, I forget. That whole series of adventures is just fantastic. So was the Storm King's Thunder stuff. Really solid adventures that aren't necessarily tied to the main campaign, could be run as their own sort of mini campaign or integrated accordingly. And they're just really well written adventures with a lot of cool puzzles and magic items and stuff. Definitely worth checking out if you can. I think almost all of them are available on the DMs Guild. But yeah. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I'll see you all next time.